Accountability. This is super important. This is what I've seen in the industry after 7 years being out with you guys and talking with other linemen. This is what I've seen, is a lack of accountability. And there's two accountabilities. There's personal accountability, fit for duty, all right, personal accountability. In other words, what did you do prior to you coming to the job that day? What were you doing? Were you preparing yourself? Did you have a good meal? Did you get some good rest? Or, like me, you know, I have some friends I haven't seen in a long time. I go out and drink beers. I drink beers with them till 5 in the morning. I got to be at the shop by 6. I'm young. I can handle it. Guess what? I was not personally accountable to my whole crew that morning because of what I did prior to coming to work. And that's the thing I see that is one of the biggest attributes to incidences is a lack of personal accountability. One guy was speaking to me and is getting close to retirement, told me when he was an apprentice, he went into the line truck with the foreman and the foreman stunk, the foreman was drunk in the truck, and this was like 25, 30 years ago. And they went out to the job site, the foreman passed out and slept while the apprentice did all the work on his own without anybody watching. Nobody watching. Just think if that lineman 4 hours from that time woke up, the journeyman woke up, the foreman woke up, and that apprentice was on the ground dead. Well, that would have been a good one, huh? Could have happened easily. And instead, he worked in a situation where that apprentice was fearful and afraid that if he said something, say, hey, you're not accountable today to me in my life. And I want to have kids and get married one day and live life, but you're here in this truck, you stink, you obviously were up, you're falling asleep, you were up all night, and you haven't been personally accountable to me, so guess what? I don't want to work with you. He was afraid to say that. But we need a system in place where we cannot be afraid to say things like that and just be honest with each other. And I guarantee you, if he had that in place, if that company had that in place, and he would have said something, see something, say something, right? If that was in place and it was safe and it was built in the capacity to do so, and he did so, that foreman probably that would have been his last time doing that, and he probably would have changed his ways. Maybe, I don't know. But we got to work on these things. The mutual accountability is when you're on the job site. So Ross and I, you know, we're on the job site. Ross, is your head in the game? So we make contact. Yes, every job, every task. We go from point A here in Statesville to point B. New job, new task. Ross, are you going to be mutually accountable to me today? Every job, we're going to ask and talk to each other about these things. We got to talk. We got to communicate. Several years ago, there was 2 linemen working, and they were changing out a broke pole. It's the truth. All these stories are true. I got so many. It's a joke. And what happened was, and they were working hot, and they knew it was hot, and they had their game plan in place. The guy, they were good friends too. The guy that, well, I'll tell you in a minute. So the guy was pulling the log out of the trailer to replace the pole with the boom. And the boom came in contact with the energized lines, energized the truck. At the same time that the 25-year journeyman lineman was in the truck pulling out gear. And that journeyman lineman, for that split second, took his hat that said journeyman lineman off, and he put another hat on that said, I'm ground plane. And that potential went through him, 7,200 went through him, dead. In just a split second, even quicker, his wife lost her husband and the kids lost their dad. All right? So let me ask you a question. The guy that was running the boom, when this took place, was he mutually accountable to the guy that got killed? Was he mutually accountable? Wasn't, huh? They were friends. Okay, remember that poem? They were friends. He didn't know where his buddy was. If he knew his buddy was in the truck and he realized and was paying attention that that boom's going to come in contact with that energized line, he wouldn't have done it. He wouldn't have done it. But he wasn't mutually accountable. Now think about this. The guy that went in the truck to get the gear out, friends with the guy on the boom. Do you think that Mr. James, who got killed when he went in that truck, do you think he would want his friend to survive the incident, knowing that he was a big cause of the incident, the guy working on the boom, his buddy, and have that weight on his shoulders the rest of his living life as he enjoyed his family and his kids growing up and all the holidays and everything? Do you think he would want that burden on his shoulder? He's gone. So is he mutually accountable to the guy working the boom? No, not at all. You see, the victim isn't just the victim. The victim is everybody. Kids, family, everybody. So we got to be personally accountable prior to work in order to be fit for duty, before we're on duty, and then we have to be mutually accountable to one another while we're on duty. All the time, constantly.